on the computer. All right. So ask me a question again.
If you were to make a checklist for a juror that is going to be jurying by Zoom, what would you include on that checklist?
Well, what would the difference be between jurying on Zoom or jurying remotely using Zap's software?
Oh, well, one of them is that what I asked you about not so long ago was like the screen resolution.
Oh, okay. Well, here's the
Technical
thing.
tips.
Here's the issue. You watch the St. Louis jury, right?
Not this year, but I have in the past.
Okay, it was no different this year. They showed the scoring page, which were 100-pixel thumbnails for the people that were watching it on Zoom. So it was too small to see anything.
Okay. Well, let's just back up. Let's just say that you have a jury panel and you want to instruct them and you're going to do it remotely. What are the things you're going to ask them to check first?
Well, first of all, they can't use a phone.
All right.
Because the jurors have the option of clicking on one of those little thumbnails and blowing it up, where we couldn't as viewers. So that it's only going to work properly if they're on a real computer.
Okay, real computer, number one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the second thing they need to check, which is the thing I referred to before, was your screen resolution. So I had my second monitor set at 125 resolution.
Oh,
So
you're talking about pixels per inch?
pixels per inch, I think.
That's irrelevant.
Totally irrelevant.
Well, it made a difference in the quality of the image I was looking at.
No, that didn't make a difference. But when you changed your magnification factor, that's what made the difference.
All right. So I'm calling
we
it
talked about that?
Yeah, I was calling it the wrong thing. So it's magnification.
Yeah, it should be 100%. If they
All
go
right.
above 100%, the images are going to get pixelated.
That's what happened to me.
Right.
And I sent you an email saying, what's going on? Right. All right. So any other technical tips a jury panel should be prepared to deal with?
No, but what they should do is do a dry run a week before the jury.
Okay.
And see what problems arise. I mean, I had twice today, I had people call me because my phone number is the only phone number they could find on the Zap website. Not that it's a bad thing.
Yeah, for support.
But one of them, he was trying to do an application on his phone. He didn't realize there was an extra image missing because he didn't scroll down far enough. So I logged in and I put all the images he wanted into the application so he could continue.
Okay.
The other one was a lady who called, her images wouldn't upload. And when I said, email me the images, they were like 3,000 by 4,000 pixels. There was no way they couldn't upload if she was actually trying to upload those actual images. And I uploaded them for her. And then she refreshed the page. But again, she was using her phone.
Yeah.
Zap has a problem that it doesn't work on a phone. Not 100% of the time.
Right. Okay.
What else?
Having a stable internet connection is a little bit important.
Well, yeah, but that goes without saying.
Well, I think it's good to put it down.
Well, don't they, you've been a juror from home before?
I've jurred 4 times officially. Yeah.
But don't they go to the bottom of the page and then they wait for everybody to catch up with the scoring?
Well, when I did the St. Louis jurying, it was on site. So I haven't done any jurying since COVID.
Okay, I'm talking about monitor jurying, which is what they're doing.
Yeah, this will be a new experience for us this year.
Okay, what they normally do is, what are there, maybe 15 artists per page? And then they go on to the next page, but they can't go on to the next page until all their jurors finish scoring those 15 artists.
Okay, good to know.
You know, because otherwise they'll get left behind.
Right. Okay. And I think it's helpful if the show lets the jurors look at the images, say a week before.
Well, a lot of shows do that. They let them go through
take
all
their
the
time.
applications
Yeah, take
and
their
read the
time, read
descriptions.
about it.
Yeah,
I think it's a good idea.
yeah. The artists don't understand. They don't know that, actually. If I were to post that, artists would be horrified.
Yeah.
Horrified at
No, I'm
what?
serious.
Horrified at what?
That they have time to go look at the artist websites. I
I
mean,
don't care.
no, you
I'd be
don't care.
horrified.
You don't care, but there's some artists that are paranoid. You know, just because they're paranoid doesn't mean they're after them.
There
How
are
that
things
saying
that
go?
show up on a website that you may not be saying in an application. And that's
Yeah.
why I think he's saying they would be nervous.
Yeah.
You know, the problem with that also, then now you opening the Pandora box, it's not a blind jury anymore because they got time to go to the website and see who is the artist.
Well,
And
that's true.
You know.
How are they finding the websites? Are they just doing an image search?
No,
No.
there's usually the application you put down your website.
I mean, they have the artist's name before the actual jury starts for some
Okay.
shows.
Actually, when I did it, and this again was before COVID, they sent us the list of artists. And at that time, I had a really lousy internet connection. It took days to download it. I do remember that. It was pretty frustrating. But it gave me time to read the artist statements. And if there was a technical phrase or word that I didn't understand, I had time to look it up. So if it was, a bronze technique that was unfamiliar to me, it did give me time to research and have a better understanding what the technique was that they were talking about. So that was helpful to have the time to do that.
How much time do you have before your jury, Karen?
How much time do I have?
Yeah,
What?
before the jury you're talking about for High Desert.
We just got sent out jury notifications to jurors today. So we are now waiting to see who's going to participate as jurors. There's always going to be someone who can't for some reason, and so you have to have a backup plan. And I think the jury will start in the middle of the month.
Okay. I have a suggestion
Sure.
for you
Mhm.
that is kind of a technical issue that there is, as far as I'm concerned, this is about the only realistic way around it. And that is can you put in a fake entry, get a collection of 5 images of different kinds of artwork, different color schemes, different color patterns. Larry can probably help you with the photos, but do this: put in 5 photos on the screen, and send them those same 5 images as good photographic prints, hard copy prints.
So you're checking for quality of image, color of image.
Yes, so that they can say, okay, here's the print in front of me, here's what it looks like, and
On
here's
their
what it looks
screen.
like on the screen. So
Yeah.
I can see that there's this difference going on.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I-
what you're actually saying is, wouldn't it be nice if all of us had our monitors calibrated?
Yep.
Is physically impossible.
I think so.
No,
Actually, it's easier to do a brightness adjustment by including a step wedge, which is a series of steps from white to black, and make sure everybody can see all the steps clearly. If it goes too white before the end, or if it goes too black before the end, their monitors need
It
to be
sounds like
adjusted.
a test that my printer makes me go through when I need to clean the heads. They want to see if the lines print correctly.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's much easier to do a brightness adjustment than it is to do a color adjustment.
Yeah.
But a color adjustment will, I'm not asking them, and unless all of your jurors are extremely technical people, which I'm finding a lot of artists are not.
Right.
I mean, they're really technical about their particular medium, but when it comes to computers, a lot of them just, then if you give them this, here's what it looks like on the screen, here's what it looks like in real life, then they have something to go by. They can see the differences. You know, they can say, oh, what I'm seeing on the screen is more or less saturated than what it really is.
You know, it's interesting you say this. I just visited a clothing website, manufactured clothing, and I looked at the thumbnail image of the color they're saying that shirt was, and I was looking at the photograph they had of the art of the model wearing the shirt, and those colors were very different. And so I immediately said, I don't really know what color this is. So it's the same issue. Yeah. So maybe what we could do is send color swatches to the jurors, red, green, blue, yellow, printed, and have them.
I would suggest sending an actual piece of artwork. Get a variety, get a color photograph or a black and white photograph. I would suggest a black and white photograph. Do something with subtle colors, do something with bright colors, and try and cover the range. And get prints, send them out, and then let them compare. Let them see those images on the screen. Let them see the actual prints.
So what do we do if somebody says, wow, my monitor really showing differently than what this photograph looks like? What do they do next?
Well, the easiest thing is they're just going to have to understand that there's a difference.
All right.
Or they can go in, either tweak their monitor themselves or have somebody tweak it for them.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do it.
Right.
I understand what you're saying, though.
But I think they need to be aware that, oh, what I'm looking at on my monitor, or I'm missing these details. You know, I see them here in this print. I see these details, but I don't see them on the screen.
I wonder if there's a way to actually contact our individual monitor companies, like I have a ThinkVision from Lenovo, and see if there is a way to check the color balance.
There's a gazillion
is.
free applications that you can download to set your your color correction.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I think
link.
if you have a Windows computer, I think there's one right inside there.
In
But there's
Windows.
plenty of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
But okay. Here's the problem. Right. First of all, I dealt with this for 20 some odd years with people doing color separations and in the pre-press industry. And I had laugh, Karen. You're talking about, you know, the colors and the fabrics don't match.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with photographers that did photograph clothing. There was some clothing, because of the dyes used and the shape of the threads used with film, it was impossible to reproduce that exact color. I have gone into places that do color separations for printing
Mm-hmm.
and seen 3 8-foot tables piled with clothing, because they're doing the color separations and they're making the tweaks to get the color separations that are going to be printed to match the actual clothing. So they're running tests and comparing it to the clothing,
To the physical piece.
Yeah,
Okay.
the physical piece.
I used to have a Solux light next to my monitor.
So
And I could look at a print somebody sent me to scan and match the colors on the computer to the print.
there's two problems, and this is real basic. There's two problems with viewing accurate colors on monitor. One is ambient light and colors, and the other is light and colors on the monitor. And unless you deal and put very strict controls on both of those, it's just worthless. So that's why if you send them a reference of some kind, a hard reference, then they can compare, and if they want to tweak the monitor, they can. If not, they don't have to, but they can at least understand there's a difference, because I don't think a lot of artists understand that.
Well, I didn't know that there was an app where I could do a color check for my monitor. So that was very helpful.
Yeah, but
Color correction.
That's all by eyeball, and without a specific piece of hardware to do it. It's just going to be eyeballing it. It will be closer, but
Closer is good.
And too many people believe that what they see on their monitor is the real thing, and it's not.
It's not.
Yeah, I would teach this class, and I would get to this part of the class, and it will be taught in a computer lab, and I'd say, okay, everybody get up, let's walk to the back of the room. Everybody would have the same image on their screen, and we'd stand in the back of the room and look at all the screens at once and see all the different colors.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that looking at TV monitors.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Best Buy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Walk into a
Colors
Best Buy or
around.
Best Buy or Target or something like that. It's the same
Yeah,
technology.
sure.
They're all
Yeah.
getting exactly the same feed, and they're all over the place.
Yes, they are.
Karen, what is this for? That
Why
you
am I
need
asking
that color.
I'm just thinking about our upcoming jury process, wondering if there was some technical tips that we could give to our new jurors about what to check, before we start the whole process. It's about their equipment.
Hey, my question is, if that's the case, shouldn't jurying on monitors be not be illegal, not allowed? That all juries should be, it should be
Like slides.
I guess on the wall.
Projected? I don't know.
Projected, yeah.
But you have the same thing.
Projected's not any better.
No.
But you have 4 people sitting in the room looking at the same thing.
From one machine, yes, as opposed to 4 or 5 different machines. Yeah.
But that will not make it more expensive for the shows and more
Yeah.
inconvenient.
Lot more expensive.
That's the way it
yeah.
used to be
I know,
when they
but
had slides.
yeah,
you know.
people don't have those kind of budgets now, Barry.
Hey, Bonnie, how was the jurying today?
Excellent.
Speaking of jurying,
Really,
Which-
really good.
Which one did you jury?
the Michigan
Birmingham
Guild.
or one of the other ones?
I'm working on Ann Arbor Summer Art Fair
Yeah,
and the Birmingham Art Fair.
yeah. I talked to Kristen, so I knew what was going on.
Thank God I don't have to worry about that for Ann Arbor.
Yeah, I fixed her images last night.
Whose?
Kristen,
Oh,
I got a question, something that happened in Bonita. And there's a lady, this is not about party lines or anything like that. Let me start with that. I will have the same problems if it was the opposite. But she drew it with images of Jesus, and I don't have a problem with that. But then she has
I do.
a picture of like a Jesus in the back with Trump in there, and she's going around that she have controversial images and this religious stuff, which I didn't think that was a bad thing, having paintings of whatever Christians or whatever you want to call it, but the one with Trump was standing out. And I asked the director if they are okay letting political stuff like that, and she answered, "We are an art center. We don't have political affiliation."
Yeah, but
or
how did she get in the show?
that's the
That was
question.
my question.
Because I'm pretty sure she didn't jure with that image.
I saw the images. Let's put it this
Yeah.
way. I'll never even remotely apply to any of the three shows ever again. That's how it affected me. It's sunk to a new level having that in the show. That my opinion and how I feel and what I'm going to do about it.
Because it's not, to me, it's not about the West Trump. It could be Biden, and I still feel awkward. I remember when R Plus was around, the person got the news involved and brought the show down and make a big fiasco because they told them to post any, not to have any artwork that was political because he didn't jure in with that work. And they took it like it was censoring the guy. I also know that they don't like people to be showing nudes in the show because it's family oriented. So I just don't understand. I just curious about. I was like that's a new one. I don't see that happen in a long time. So I don't know if she was doing for shock value or what. And most of the artists that I talk, even they are Republican, they were saying that should not be at the show. And forget if you ask her to the Democrats.
Where was it? In the Villages?
No, that wasn't Bonita Springs.
If
That's funny.
if that's what the artist juried in with, and that's what the jury accepted, then they can show it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then
That's right. That's right. You're exactly right.
But I don't know if she showed that image. I didn't ask her about it. It's like the huge juror with that image. Because I told Loretta basically what you did that St. Louis Alfred told another artist that shouldn't be putting anything political Biden in the jury images.
The three deadly sins:
You know,
sex, religion, and politics.
yeah.
Except if it's real art in a real art setting. Like, okay, let's take the Renaissance. It was all nudes, you know.
Yeah,
Let's
but that
flash
wasn't
to
sex.
that wasn't sex either.
Well, we sucks now.
Just the
They don't want
nude.
to show David.
Yeah, right.
That's
That's right.
cool.
At the White House. Remember when they covered the nudes in the White House in the I mean, it's silly. It's actually embarrassing. It actually hurts. This stuff really hurts, you know. It's like, what did I get myself into? You know, come on. How about some level of intelligence? You know, I'm tired of this. It really hurts. The field I chose is turning into I can't even describe it.
I don't
You
know.
know,
I just
bothers me.
curious. Didn't the show also was. I think that Bonita's becoming like a show for painters. I think the photographers are not doing well in any of the Bonita shows. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and that was a painting. Those are paintings.
Yeah. So I think the next year I definitely not going to do Bonita too for sure. The other two are still debating about it. So see how they go. So, but so far I only have one decent show down here. Everything else is being affected by the weather. And then this one is called the Super Bowl. So who knows?
Okay, here's a subject, and since nobody actually responded to what I said, here's another subject about that. What was the message? If you're doing something, if you're like, let's say like Guernica, Picasso, it was an anti-war protest thing. Okay, he was making a statement. What was the statement that this, and granted, none of you actually saw the photo, or that'd be sorry, the painting. What was the statement? Was it sarcasm or was it glorifying Jesus and Trump? Which was it? In terms of artwork, what was it? I would like that to be clearer.
Well, doesn't matter really, but
Any takers on that one, Bonnie?
Give me a minute. I have an image I'm gonna pull up here.
Okay.
Yeah,
that I,
great.
Yeah, I
to me
like
fits
Katie's
in that
background
same
image.
category.
Yeah, that's a great cat picture.
No, Katie's
Especially with your
background.
head right there.
Oh.
Got everybody on the screen, right?
I will
Cats
forewarn you, after adjuring all day, I'm a little fried.
No, I get it.
I only have 4 more days of jurying.
Yes, I talked to Kristen last night. She was pretty tired also.
She was pretty fried. Like, I actually
Yeah.
felt a lot worse last night than I do
Yeah.
tonight. But by
Yeah.
Friday, I'm going to be, I'm going to be done. But I came back with my notes.
Oscar, if you covered the camera.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
I wouldn't want that facing my booth.
That was the Trump part. Definitely. And you can't see the head, but it's Jesus or something like that.
Yeah, I saw the whole picture.
Oh yeah, maybe I can get. No, I can't.
Okay. So before I forget, am I interrupting if I bring up a new topic?
Mm-mm.
No.
go ahead.
take a new topic.
Okay. Because my brain is, a little fried. Okay. If you say something in your artist statement, like I make all my own ear wires, the part that goes through your ear, and then your first image shows earrings on purchased ear wires, some that you couldn't make even if you wanted to.
Yeah.
That kind of doesn't look good. Update your freaking booth image.
Mhm.
Some of these people, their booth image is from 2016.
Mm.
And oh yeah, they've changed it quite a bit. Well, show me what you're bringing. Don't show me some old picture.
I have a question about that, Bonnie.
Yes.
Just because it looked commercially made, how do you know that they didn't actually make the the whatever
The ear
the
wires?
wire to make it look commercial?
Because they couldn't. I mean, they're manufactured. I know them.
You know that. All right.
Yeah. And that's where, if you have a juror in the jewelry category or in the whole show category that doesn't actually know jewelry,
Mhm.
this kind of stuff. I mean, she can use those ear wires. That's not the problem. She put it in her artist statement
Right.
that she doesn't use them.
Yeah.
Caught in a lie. But you need the best example of you need peer juries.
Yes.
because we catch, you would not believe the amount of stuff we catch
Yeah.
as a peer juror, where, you know, I sat next to the guy at Krasel on their jury, and he was a collector of old glass. Those were his credentials for
Nice.
during the Krasel Art Fair.
Wait a minute. Collector of old commercial glass or collector of
Yeah.
all of old handmade
No,
glass?
no, no.
The
Commercial.
difference.
A
Great.
commercial collector of old, and not even really old glass. He
Couldn't
showed
they
me
get somebody
pictures.
that had some knowledge of what we do? Is that the only person they could get?
Well, that's what you start to wonder. You know, there are so many good people out there that can do a wonderful job.
Yeah.
Now, it turns out that my friend Lori, who was supposed to jury this morning, wasn't a good choice because she never showed up.
Oh,
But
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh, but it
I
sounds
didn't recommend her, and I told her that she was a, you know, kind
Irresponsible.
of,
meanwhile,
yeah.
I want to like say something that isn't about this just for a second. I think Court's picture should have Court in it with his frowny face with the crosses behind him. I thought that was hilarious. Oh, he put himself out of it, but it was Court. It was really funny with you in front of the thing. I think that would make a great that would make a great photo.
See, I like the one with gray.
Well, you were talking about the how do you interpret a photo and
Yeah.
interpreting that other photo.
Yeah.
I hang this and have hung this in my booth. And I have people, to me, I photographed it because why do you put your main religious symbol with your garbage? And I have
You're making a
people,
statement.
I have people that take it the opposite direction, that they believe that their religion is taking care of the garbage in their life for them.
oh boy. Okay.
Alrighty.
So same image, but two drastically different interpretations.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, the one that Oscar got to live with this past weekend, I don't know how many different interpretations you can have of that, but that one really bugged me when I saw it.
Yeah. Me
Yeah.
too.
I wouldn't want to have been looking at that one.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have wanted to be in a booth near that person
Me neither.
because, frankly, you know, I don't want to be involved in the
People they might,
scuttlebutt
yeah,
about it.
the people they might attract.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Larry.
Well, I
It's a
had,
slippery downhill slope.
when I showed the images like this one in my old churches, I had people come in, at least usually just one at every single show, come in and use my images to interpret my religion and the strength of my religion, let's put it that way. And they were quite amazed to find out that they were completely wrong. And I actually had one lady in Oklahoma City put a print down and walk away that she was going to buy. She put it down and left.
Really?
Well, good. You don't want her to own.
Didn't bother me one bit.
Well, Oscar, did you find out, did she jury with that work?
I will ask Lori when I see her again. I didn't, you know, when I'm in the show, honestly, I only worry about my booth.
Yeah.
But I'm the problem with that, if I was next to her and I get the chances of somebody coming in there, it could be a religious person, it might not be a big deal, but I also, with the tension in this day, it can create an issue for me. I can get a racist person next to coming to my booth, and who knows? It can go really south really fast. I can see that happening. So I don't think that she understand what the problems can happen, and I think that it's an artistic event, but you have to also consider the safety of the people at the show and the people that your artists that I'm in the show. So it doesn't allow at that show. Should I apply to that show again? Because I might be concerned of the people that might come to the show. You know, and
Yeah.
especially in the environment that I'm in Florida, then you start thinking about every other problem they can create. If it comes now that the show is good or bad, it's because it's safe for me to be at the show.
Oscar, did you talk to her? Did you find out her intent? Was her intent to glorify Trump or was she being sarcastic?
I think that she's being. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Well, in the end, it doesn't matter. I'm just wondering.
No, it doesn't matter because you're going to bring two kind of people, or somebody that hated a person that you're going to bring the wrong crowd to the show, basically, and then you're going to have a problem. That's my problem with that. But I really don't care. She can pay whatever she wants. It's more about how safe it is for everybody else to be there. But I don't care. My point is, like, I'm going to apply the same rules that I told everybody else. If you don't like something that happened to the show, you feel uncomfortable, you don't have to do the show ever again.
That's right. That's what I said.
You know,
there are 60 zillion other shows you can do instead.
And I don't mind saying that. You know, I said it pretty strongly earlier. I don't mind saying that. It's how I feel. Listen, if I didn't care, I wouldn't say anything. You know, I just sit here like a lump, you know.
It's just the same thing like last week in Fort Myers, at the end of the show, the girl's going, I'm going to write an email and ask for the refund on my booth. And I'm going, you cannot ask for the refund for your booth because you got a bad spot. There's no guarantee you're going to do well or bad in a different spot. And
she can ask, but she's not going to get her money back.
Yeah, but it's you kind of I was telling her you don't want to be labeled like a troublemaker because you will the one if you're going to write it up, explain your reasons and why they should not be there, and if you want to ask for a refund at that point, it's fine, but don't start with the idea you're going to get a refund because that's not going to happen. So
the time to do that is when you get to the show and you see that your spot is horrible and you go there and you ask them to move.
You don't know that. You don't necessarily know that it's horrible until you find out the traffic flow, the actual traffic flow of the show.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. The show needs to know, because you can assume that the show knows. Like, how could they not know? But they've got so much going on, they may have no clue at all. And they have no clue what the impact was.
The hotel doesn't want artists in front of their street, and the street where they are. So take the whole aisle out. And also, there was a person, they got a food court in the opposite side at the end of that section, and the generator, somebody was really loud. And thank God the fuse wasn't hitting us because how the breeze was going on. But that's another thing that everybody in that line was complaining how loud it was.
Yep.
And nobody can explain. I was the one farthest away, and I say to the volunteer, if you want to write this down to, it's Alicia, it's the person in charge of the artists in Fort Myers. It was that most of the artists in this line is they are so soft spoken, and it's really hard to be talking for 16 hours or 8 hours straight over a generator because you're going to lose your voice, and it's hard to listen to people hear you. And then if it's me, then I competing with the generator, and the English is my second language. I already have people having a hard time understanding me, and now you put in more noise in the background that's going to affect the people. So I don't know. You're making my situation harder to make a living. So, and my point of view is like if I'm paying the same amount of booth that the person in the other block, I should have equal. I deal at least it's close equal opportunity to that person to make an income.
Yes.
You know,
Mhm.
and
You know,
agree.
I had that situation at Fort Myers once. Just because for the night thing, I did the night thing, and they had the generators so that there could be lights. And not only was it loud, it was stinky because it was gas generators.
Oh,
And and a lot of people complained, and I think, and they said, well, we're going to turn it off during the day, which they did for one day, but I think the second day it was on again. My point is they know, but to Bonnie's point about they know about the generators and the stinky, and it's a matter of do they want to deal with it. I can tell you something because I talked to Annie Couch, who's the new coordinator for the show, and she's really good. And she was telling me, it's above her. It's like the committee or like it's the local, whatever it is that controls the show. She's telling me that she's been fighting them for a lot of things, that was going on. And I don't know specifically. Well, I do know about one thing specifically, but it told me that she's really on the ball. She's 25 years old and she's running that show and she did a great job. I mean, give her a couple of years. It's, but it's almost like she's not old enough to assert her will on the
well,
committee or the community.
she's old enough, but they aren't necessarily going to listen because they
I,
don't think she's old
well, whatever the reason is, maybe they're all male chauvinists and they hate women. It's something, but they didn't take her seriously.
enough.
They
Yeah.
didn't listen to her. You know.
the other
Aaron?
thing about
Yeah.
the other thing about Fort Myers, sorry, is that
No.
the areas is keep growing up and they're bringing more people with higher income into the area.
Yeah.
So maybe in a couple of years, it's going to be a really good show. The hotel that they put it where the show goes. If you go to Priceline on Friday, it was $844 to book the room. If you go on Sunday, it was $500. So it's a different people going to that place. So doesn't mean anything, but just give an idea what you people that are going in there.
Yeah. Did anybody read my post on the show after the show? It was rather mild. It was very, it wasn't biased or anything, and I actually wrote about, some of the problems like having the street, having it's a real problem because you have cars driving through the show in the middle of the show, so you have artisan barriers, and the street where artists should be, it's cars driving through, and the police are there to make sure nobody gets run over. So what do you do? You do you do you move the show? Well, it's a really good location and it's been there way before that hotel. Um, so it's a real problem because you want to have the show there, but you don't want to have the barriers. So it's almost an impossible task because what happens is you have two shows. You have one on one end and one on the other end. And
Yeah.
and normally you could walk, people would walking the show, they could walk down it's uninterrupted, it's continuous. But in this case, it's not. It's like, and then you could see what's on the other side of the street. So if you wanted to go to the other side to see something that you were attracted to, you had to walk all the way down and then walk all the way back on the other side. You had to cross the path where the cars go, and hopefully you don't. Well, the cops will make sure you don't get run over. But it's very awkward. There's no continuum where it would be really great if there could be a continuum. Now, if you could move half the show past the hotel, that's one way to do it, but then everything's really crowded together. The other problem is all those areas are being purchased by corporations or developers. So so every year there's there's a new building or a new plan for a building. So really
Yeah.
the show's getting squeezed. On the other hand, Oscar's right. The area is being more inundated with people with money or people to sell to. So the potential for that to be a really good show is right there. We're only talking about a half step or two steps, one step, to make it really, really good, you know. So there's the dilemma. That could be a good show. That could be a top-rated show.
Which is
Okay,
what we need, Stanley. Go, Bonnie.
I want to hear how you're coming. How's it going with the board handling everything?
I think we're doing really well. I'm just, because we are working artists, we just bring this standard to how we want things to be. And I think that's great. And we are working together as a team very well. We've had a couple bumps and we're able to talk through whatever differences of opinions. And that's great to be able to have a dialogue.
Mhm.
And every once in a while, I find myself thinking with my heart instead of my head. And that's where trying to make a decision that is a compromise, but would please everybody. And it's good to have the balance of the board. And so I'm very proud of what we're doing. It's a huge amount of time that each of us
Oh,
give
yeah.
to this. And we are so fortunate that we have some of the members in that area, and they are doing the door-to-door talking that they need to do. Right now, we're trying to solve the parking load-in questions. And you got to talk to local businesses. You have to, and you find out, oh, somebody else bought this. What we thought was an empty gravel lot is now going to be developed. So we can't plan on that for parking. So what do you do next? It really takes having people in the community to solve those things.
Right.
That's good. It takes far more time out of my studio work than I had ever reckoned on. That's okay. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I got a question. This is for Bonnie and you, Karen, and David Court. I was talking to another friend, and every time you do a show, the directors have some expectations from the artist. So what the artist should be expecting from the show? The basic things that you should be getting from the show.
Well, I think we have expectations of the artist coming and being professionals, to be respectful of their neighbors, to obey our rules and guidelines. I think that's reasonable. I think we all kind of take that for granted, but sometimes it bears repeating. What you need to expect from us is that we are advertising to bring you a successful marketplace opportunity. That's the big one. We need to, do what we can to get people there. That's really important. But the other part is we have to do all of the paperwork, the permits, the liability insurance, the background checks of vendors. We need to source those rental tents so that they are at a good price, not an exorbitant price, which is what happened last year. We need to be there to provide hospitality for you as best we can, or give you a list of what the nearby resources are. We need to plan so that you can have a successful experience that weekend. One of the big ones that I have been trying to wrap my head around is hotel lodging in Bend in August. The prices are just really high. And I kept thinking, oh, we got all these people coming to town. Can I ask one of these chains if they would give us a group or a block discount? And that's actually a little hard to navigate. Numbers aren't big enough, and our pocketbook isn't big enough to, I think, make the deal where you can get block discounts for the artist in a hotel, and also for the hotel to make money, have a happy hour or some kind of banquet experience in a hotel to kind of balance the difference of, we're giving you a lower room rate, but you are buying services from the hotel. So
See, I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't?
Oh, no.
Okay. Well, I'm started to research it, and I think I'm going to stop. We're going to have to figure out other ways. It's just the winter rates for hotels are half of what they are during the summer.
Karen, have you looked into any like Verbo's my choice versus Airbnb?
I think that's where it's going, which is there's this whole subculture of vacation rentals in the same community. Yeah.
And a lot of them have capabilities of, 12, 15 people.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Bonnie. I'm one of those people who like to crash in my own room by myself.
I'm not
a house
staying there.
with other people is just not the first choice for me.
I'm not staying there either. But as far as giving people,
Let alone, parking for 12 art fair vehicles in a community that has a vacation rental, is there room for us on the street? That could be an issue
no,
too.
because you just are all carpool. All those vans are empty.
Oh, just leave them in the show parking lot and carpool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or rent a shuttle, to
Well,
get us back and forth.
Yeah.
Because it's only twice a day. It's once, well, it's a few hours going and then a few hours coming back. So it isn't, you might have to get it for
hosting.
Yeah.
Ask your local people.
Bonnie, I think that's the direction we're headed. I just thought it was worth gathering the information about the hotel and hotel industry. Wedding events do this all the time.
Right.
They kind of have a limit for the number of rooms they will allow for a block discount.
Right.
And that limit is too low for the number of artists that are coming into town.
Okay, but you don't know how many of those people actually need rooms.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect all of them. Maybe half of them. Maybe.
That's the thing that we have found very interesting at my former show, was the fact that, we didn't have to get nearly as many rooms as we thought, because people had, they don't really sleep in their van in February in Michigan, but they had other alternatives, whether it be motorhome, friends.
I get it. Yeah,
I get
St. Louis does such a great job with the hotels in Clayton, and one of the hotels becomes the host hotel. That's where y'all want to be one way or another. But it has the size to,
of course, I ain't no
to handle it.
Yeah. But I wouldn't worry about having to put on a meet and greet. That
Bonnie,
yeah.
I want to reveal something to you at the last one. Because of the the electricity going out in the city, all the locals took all the hotel rooms, and there were artists that got kicked out of the hotel rooms. And I didn't talk to what's his name, who put up a bunch of people. Somebody put up a bunch of people, but I didn't know that, and I ended up staying in the parking lot.
Oh, baby.
And it wasn't a pleasant experience. I mean, I lived through it, but I'm telling you, there was no place to go. You couldn't, I was stuck there. So
I would have given you my floor.
So
in my hotel room.
Well, my head was it was a brain freeze at that point. So, it just happened.
Well, what happened at the show last year is that there was a big, was it a snowstorm?
Ice, I think.
Ice.
Yeah,
And it took
Yeah.
out all the electricity
yeah. There was a
in the
power out.
Kalamazoo area, except for like east of a certain line. And like our hotel was fine, but hotels were doing very strange things with some were honoring all the reservations, others weren't. All these people were without lights and heat.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. So we weren't sure that anyone was even going to show up for the show. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Aaron, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Have you contacted the Convention and Visitors Bureau?
I'm about to. I have a name. I've been looking at it. There's both the chamber and the Visit Bend, which is the convention center. Yeah.
I would go, and Bonnie's done this. I would go, and I worked with other groups and done some things in the past. I would go to the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and I would say, I'm bringing this number of people to town. I need about this many hotel rooms, and we would like to do this, and drop it in their lap and let them pitch something to you,
Yeah.
because that's what they do.
That is a resource. And I think that it's more likely to happen when we have this year under our belts and we have more data we can share with them. But yeah, it's on my mind about you have to go
I
to those
wouldn't wait.
organizations.
I
Okay.
I wouldn't wait. I would do it this year. You know
Mhm.
how many artists you have. You have a track record of this event happening for
Mhm.
years, even though there was a small break in the middle.
Mhm.
The same as if you can get some economic dollars, you can go with go to the economic development group in the area and say, hey, we're bringing in this much money to
Right.
town.
Right.
You know, what can you do for us?
Well, actually, if yeah, we have to take some baby steps here as we move to this new location. I'm really optimistic about it, though. I think it's going to be a huge success. That's where the people are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the Convention and Visitors Bureau,
That's their job.
yeah, that's their job.
Mhm.
Just go dump it in their lap and say, hey, here's what we need.
Mhm.
What can
Mhm.
you help? What can you do? What can you help us with? Things like that. And they have connections that you don't and you will never have.
True, that's true. And I think just the fact that I asked the question, I think artists would be, even if I don't come up with a solution this year, at least I can honestly tell them I asked and this is what I found out. The reality is that the vacation rentals will probably be more in our budget than the hotel rooms at that time of year.
Well,
I'll ask. I'll do it.
when you go to the Convention and Visitors Bureau,
Mhm.
don't say I need hotels, say I have this many people coming to town and I need to find places for this many people to stay, and let
Mhm.
them look at all the possibilities.
Yep.
Hey,
Yep.
it's kind of ironic to me that the people that are coming, us, the artists that are creating, the buzz that brings people in, to stay in the hotels, are taking all the places, and or us, you can't get a deal, you can't stay anywhere because we're creating the problem, and then and they're not taking, which isn't a problem. It's a plus. We're
Mhm.
generating income, we're doing all this stuff by being there, and having a place, and it's a really, really good show. I'm going to apply. I doubt that I'll get in, and I'm debating whether, I mean, that's a long drive, so if I do get in, I got to think about it, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to apply. But you know it really, I have to think about all those miles. But we're creating the atmosphere to bring, that we're generating all this people coming in, and then we're like, oh, well, where are we going to stay, kind of thing.
Well, yeah, it's like, where can we
Like,
afford to stay? Yes. Yeah.
it's that, oh, well, in Florida. I can't afford to stay anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
at least anywhere close.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote something today about nostalgically about how the hotels around Coconut Grove at one time were $50. Can't believe I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying this. It was $50 a night to stay there. It was really, it was affordable, and it was great. Now it's like hundreds of dollars. It's hard to make that commitment. So,
Yeah, well,
and
actually, the whole reason this started, Barry, was that I started to look at hotels for August, just for me,
uh-huh,
because I need
yeah,
to be there.
yeah.
And I have done that show in that town at other times. And there's a lot of family-owned hotels there. But when you start reading the reviews, you find out what's happening in the community. There's
Yeah.
drugs being sold, there's theft happening, there's,
In the
altercations
hotels
or nearby
around it,
or
parking lot
outside.
and stuff.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like, I don't want to have to deal with that. Why can't I find a hotel where I'll feel I will be safe? So all of a sudden, then you look at the chain hotels, and that's where, they're starting at $225 a night. Says, well, that's not going to work either. What are we going to do?
Not working for me.
Yeah, and so this is why I started to go down the road of I wonder if we can get a block of rooms and get a better price. So I'll pursue it. We'll see what happens.
Well,
You know,
guys, I'm going to let you go.
Nice to chat with you,
are
Oscar.
we leaving now,
So it's
Oscar?
not
Yes.
quite yet, but we
It's
got another
Taco
10 minutes. But I
Taco
need to do a couple
Tuesday.
things. Yep.
Taco Tuesday.
See you guys.
All right.
Yeah, you're late for the old folks discount.
I want the AARP discount and the AAA discount and the I'm a really cool guy discount, and because I deserve it,
Well, added
You're
together.
already getting the Oscar's friend discount on your lodging.
That's true. Oh, he's not. Oh, he's outside now. This is great. So I offered to pay for his lunch yesterday. He literally got the most expensive thing on the menu. It was funny.
He's no dummy.
It was fun. I thought it was funny, and then I was going to say something and realized, oh yeah, well he's saving me a lot of money by staying here, so I didn't want to be ungrateful. So it was fun. We had fun.
That's great.
Plus, I had a Larry David moment. If you read my post where I'm supposed to ship something out, and everything is great. I'm in line. Well, at first they said get in the back of the line when I had been on the side out of the way, being polite. No, get at the end of the thing. So I made a comment about that. So I get up to the front, and the address she's telling me that address isn't in in their database, and there was a difference in word. One was mine was loop, and theirs was trail, something something loop, something something trail. And I was thinking, well, if it was Marquette, you don't even have to have the right address. They're going to deliver it to me because they know me. And I figured, small town in Montana, no big deal. And so I ended up calling the person who wants me to ship, bought the piece, and and so they have to figure it out. So then there was a link on. So no, she's adamant. She's going, it's loop. So I clicked. There was a link in the text that she sent me. I click on that, and it's a total different city. Everything's the same. The address, is the same. And I'm standing there, and there are people behind me, and I'm getting frustrated. And Oscar thinks I'm angry, so he's going outside. He's embarrassed because it was truly a Larry David moment. If you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, it's exactly what it was. And the funny thing is, it started out with just one word difference. As it turns out, I had him redo the label with the word loop in it. And if it gets there, it gets there. And if it doesn't, well, it's the person that gave me the thing, and they're going to be responsible, but I'm not giving them their money back if the thing doesn't get delivered and it gets sent back. So, but I eventually thought it was funny. It was like, like I was Larry David, if you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, all these things happen to him, little things that ends up, blossoming. So whatever.
All
He
right.
should have been. All right.
Darren, I was going to show you this real quick. This photo.
Mm-hmm.
used to be one of my jury images because
All
it's
right.
a beautiful print, has
Right.
some really beautiful subtle things going on in it,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't getting into shows. I have another image that also has very subtle highlight details in it,
Mm-hmm.
and I quit using them because they weren't jurying very well.
It has to do with their
Because
not
there's,
seeing them. Yeah.
you know, you can't see the detail that's in there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
You heathen.
one of the things you have to, you know, why I suggested sending out a, you know, a reference print and, you know, an image they could see on the computer.
Hey
Yeah,
guys, I gotta
understand.
go.
All right.
I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun. You're all great. I'm looking forward to this every weekend, and I wish there was a few more. Like, where's Allison? But hey, everybody's got their thing to do. So,
It's Allison's birthday today.
Oh, well, happy birthday, Allison. So next week it'll be the day after Coconut Grove, so there'll be some news about that. So anyway, I'll see y'all.
All right.
Bye, Barry.
I'll sign off too. Take
All
care.
right. So I guess this is it.
This
Good
is
night,
it.
everybody.
Thanks again, Larry.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.